Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen. In this episode, Philadelphia-based singer-songwriter Wallis talks about creating and performing during 2020, writing songs with her father, including her debut single, Lonely Christmas, which embodies the complexity of the season as people find new ways to get together while staying physically apart. Wallis talks about working with her father on the song, as well as the music video she made with her family. Both have gone on to be a huge hit, earning thousands of streams and over 1 million views of the video. My next guest, with just one single, she has over 5,000 followers on Instagram, 28,000 streams of the song, over 1 million views of her music video. I am joined by Philadelphia-based singer-songwriter Wallis. Wallis, welcome to the show. It is awesome having you here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. Now, the people at home can't see this, but I did want to ask. You are calling me from your home studio, which I gotta say looks as good as anything you're gonna find in like a professional studio. How did this whole thing come together?
So actually, we just recently got a little bit of new equipment, sort of as a joint birthday present, because me and my dad have birthdays that are very close to each other. And this is something that we both thought would be a useful thing to invest in. It's just a bedroom in our house, a spare bedroom, and we have our mini keyboards and mic and, everything that we need right here.
One thing that I have seen a lot is a lot of folks are doing the home studio route because they can't go to a studio. They're all shut down for months and months. They're like, you know what? I want to still record, so I'm just gonna buy the gear and do it myself. Was that the case with you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's also great because since my dad and I work together, whenever we're home and we decide it's a moment that we have a good idea or any moment that we feel inspired to record, we can just come downstairs and use our home space, and we don't have to drive somewhere to a studio.
So if like 3 a.m. you wake up, you think, I've got a great idea for a song, you can go to there and do it.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
You'll be surprised. A lot of folks do that. Like 2 a.m. is when they have the best ideas.
Yeah, me and my dad were actually just talking about that yesterday. Oh, just different times of day and how our creativity is.
Do you have a certain time of the day or a certain place you like to be when it comes to coming up with new song ideas?
For me personally, when I'm writing, I love to just sit at my piano and play whatever comes to my mind. And I tend to just set up my phone and hit record. So I record everything that I play and I just play whatever comes to my mind. So then I can take whatever ideas that I like from that video later on if I watch it back. And yeah, I love just sitting at my piano at the end of the day or really any time that I'm in the mood to write. And yeah, that's usually where I tend to write, with the piano.
Mm-hmm. What do you usually write about?
It really depends. It fluctuates with what is going on in my life at the time. And also it fluctuates with who I'm listening to and who my inspirations are in the moment. But yeah, it depends.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your debut single, Lonely Christmas, released late last year. Since then, more than 28,000 streams of your song on Spotify, over 900 Spotify followers, over 1.2 million views of your debut music video, which was made with yourself, your dad, your sisters, I'm going to assume your grandparents too?
Yes, my grandparents as well.
Entirely a family thing. Were you surprised by the response to this?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there were a lot of people who had reached out to me and my family members and people that we know, and we got a lot of very positive feedback, which I'm incredibly thankful for. And it was really beautiful to see how different people connected with the song and connected with the video. And I think a lot of people related to the sentiment of what we were singing about and the family aspect and how, you can't see these people that you're really missing right now. And I know the holidays can be really difficult for some people as well. So it's a hopeful song, and we were trying to create hope with it, but it also is addressing some of the elements of the holiday season that are really hard for a lot of people, as well as the fact that this year we're in isolation. So yeah, but it was really beautiful to see all of the different positive reactions, and it was mind-blowing watching the views go up and seeing the comments from around the world. It was just crazy, but I'm so thankful.
I think it really did a great job summing up what we had to deal with this year. I think one of the best scenes was when you and your sisters were singing for your grandparents, but they were inside and you were outside, so you had to have that kind of wall between the two of you.
Yeah, and I mean, that's how we visit them, and and that's the same with our friends as well. If we see our friends, we're seeing them from a far distance. And I mean, if we're even lucky enough to get to see them from afar. But yeah, I feel like that it's become a thing that we're trying to normalize, because this is just how our life is right now. But it's really a strange thing not being able to go inside and hug your grandparents when you go to visit them, having a door in between you or standing really far apart. It's strange, and it's a weird thing to adapt to.
Now, did you start making music during the shutdown?
Well, I've always created music since I was a kid, and my dad has been writing music since he was young, and he's an excellent writer, and he was when he was young as well. And I just think the time that we've had in quarantine was allowed us to share music that he's written in the past, as well as ideas that we had for this song. And we had little ideas about this song previously in the year, and we continued to say, oh, let's get that song done. It would be great if we knew it was going to be a Christmas song from the start, but we always were like, all right, let's do this. We're going to get this song done. And then November rolled around, and we're like, okay, it's crunch time. If we're doing this, we gotta do this. We're like 3 months behind now. It's already November. Usually when people put out Christmas songs, they have it out way earlier, so people have the whole holiday season to listen to it. So we're like, all right, we gotta get this going. And then yeah, for 2 weeks we just worked together on it, and we worked hard to get it done, and then filmed the video on my dad's iPhone, and yeah, and then we put it on YouTube.
Working with your father to write songs, what's that like?
Great. I love working with him on songs. It's really fun to work with him and get to hear his perspective and his experience in life and his music taste, and get to explore all of the knowledge that he has, just, in life, because we're entirely different ages and we're in such different places in our life. It's cool to write with someone who is so different from you, but also we're also very similar. And yeah, I mean, I love writing with my dad. We were writing earlier today together, and I'm really thankful that we have that in common, and that is the thing that we can share and bond over together.
Mm-hmm. Is your father also a musician?
He's not a trained musician, but he is an excellent musician.
Cool. What does he bring to the table that you feel helps the most?
I feel like he introduces me to a lot of different artists and music, as well as, just getting a different perspective from something. Like, for example, I'll write something and he'll say, that's great, and what if you go here with it? And I'm like, okay, that's great. And then we just, work off of each other and decide what we like. And I think for the most part, we tend to have pretty similar visions with where we want to go with something. But, it's just nice to bounce ideas off of each other. And he's also my dad, so he's always looking out for me and trying to teach me and help me. And yeah.
Cool. We talked earlier about the reaction to Lonely Christmas, but When you decided to publish it, you put it out there on Spotify, you did the music video. Did you have any expectations for what might happen?
I mean, I think I expected my friends to listen to it and, just some family friends. And I don't know, I probably expected them to be like, hey, great song, and then somebody posted it on Reddit, which then it blew up on Reddit, and then the views on my YouTube videos started going up and up, and from there it just kind of took off, and it was so crazy, and it felt like everything was happening so fast, and it you see people go viral all the time, and it's just a thing that you see, and you never expect it to happen to yourself, and then once it's happening to you, you're like, oh my, this is a thing, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's like you're just like sitting there, kind of checking the page every like couple hours. Okay, this many more, this many more, this many more. It's like wait, what's happening here?
Yes, I know. And then once it gets to a certain point, you're like, wait, that's a lot of views. It's like that realization. You're like, wait, hold on now.
Yeah. wait. This what's supposed to happen? What's going on here? What were some of the comments for the video?
There were some actually really funny comments on the video. I don't have them memorized off the top of my head, but some of our favorite comments to read though were people were saying that there were certain elements of the song that reminded them of ELO, and we love ELO, so we were like, wow, like you're comparing us to ELO? Well, then we're on cloud nine, and that's winning at life for us. So, and yeah, there were a lot of positive comments of people who just said that they were listening to the song a ton, and just a lot of nice comparisons to artists that other people were enjoying at the time. And I saw some videos of people listening to the song in their car and listening to it in their house, and little kids singing it and people dancing to it. And that was really probably my favorite part of all of this, was getting to actually see people enjoying the song. Yeah, that made me really happy. And I think my family really enjoyed that as well.
Now, was this meant to be just kind of like a one-time thing?
I'm going to say it's just the beginning. It's my dream to pursue music. And right now we are working on a song that we are in the process of mixing, and we hope to get it out pretty soon. So you can find updates on that on my social media. On YouTube, it's just Wallis in all caps, and it's the same with my Spotify. And then my Instagram is at I_am_Wallis. Yeah, we'll be posting updates on that there.
Now, are you self-taught as a singer?
No, I mean, I've done choir in the past. I've done community theater. When I was 12, I auditioned for a professional theater show, and I was lucky enough to get cast. So, and I've taken vocal classes, and I actually go to an art school currently. So, I've had mentors all over the place in my lifetime. The school that I attend is called Pennsylvania Leadership Charter School, and it's an online school, but then the arts portion of it is called Center for the Performing and Fine Arts.
Oh, okay. What would you say you learn more in the classroom that you aren't learning kind of just as you go along?
I think I learned a lot being in this space and experimenting with music and being around different people who have good music knowledge and experience. And I think working on writing and being around people who know what they're doing is one of the best learning experiences for me. However, in my art school, I think it gives me a little bit more of music theory knowledge that I'm trying to work on, as well as I take some acting classes. So, it gives me a little bit more of a well-rounded learning experience, so I can learn some acting, some musical theater, some mixed ensemble vocals, some variety. It's great.
I like that you have such like a well rounded approach to the arts. Like, you're not just doing one thing or another, you're doing like all these different things. What is it about the arts that you enjoy so much?
I think arts is the best form of expression. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think it's just really beautiful seeing how different artists use their art to express themselves. And I just find all art forms to be very beautiful, even if it's fine arts or fashion or graphic design or name any art form. I really probably love it. Yeah, I mean, the arts are the best way to express emotions that people cannot express on their own.
Do you think you're set with music, or do you think you're still kind of like finding your own artistic path?
I would say I connect most to music. However, I think I will continue to dabble in different art forms throughout my whole life. I enjoy fine arts as a hobby. I don't think I would pursue it, but that's definitely a part of music videos and creating images for like album covers or, even social media, what you're presenting on social media. All of that requires an artistic vision. And I think I really do enjoy that element of it as well, the visual aspects of it. And yeah, I mean, but my main focus tends to be music, but I really do love theater as well.
Now, I know that the hardest part for a musician can be to promote themselves. It's definitely a challenge to kind of make that connection with the audience, to build a fan base. So my question to you is, do you have like a plan in mind?
With some things, I think I definitely check in and I'm like, all right, so how are we going to approach talking about this new song? Or, and I'm still learning. I'm very new to being on public social media. Like usually I would just post like a normal teenager on a private social media account, but now I have a public account where anyone can follow it. So I'm trying to do the best I can to post content that I would want to post, as well as things that will promote my music and being as real as I can be. Like on my story the other day, I posted a picture of me after my first interview. And it was a picture of me leaning over on the table and I was crying because I was really overwhelmed. I'd never had an interview like that before, and I was really anxious and nervous, but overwhelmed and grateful. And I was just experiencing a lot of emotions in the moment. And I was like, you know what? This was just as much a part of it as any of the other great things that happened. And I was like, I think I should be showing the full story of it,
Being as real as you can be. That, I think, is probably like the key phrase there. You certainly want to be honest about who you are and what you do. Do you shy away from being too personal with what you post?
I mean, I haven't been very much in the public eye, so I'm still learning about all of this. And there haven't been many occasions where I've even had to think about that yet. But I think for the most part, I keep, like, for example, I'm not going to be posting pictures of my friends on that account unless it's called for and they would approve, or, things like that. And yeah, and I talk to my dad before I post anything for the most part. And we just have clear communication about what's going to be on the internet, because, the internet's an interesting place sometimes.
That's a good summation. I like that. Like that. And you certainly have a big audience. You have like 8 posts over like 5,000 followers. Was that just like an overnight thing after the other song debuted?
I gained a decent amount of followers after my song started to gain views and get some attention. But I think I also gained some more followers after Ellen posted a short clip of the video on her Instagram and tagged me. So I think I gained some followers from there, from Ellen's Instagram page, which that was even crazier. That was like, yeah, that I don't even know how to put that to words.
Oh my God, that's so cool. So your reaction when you found out that Ellen was a fan of yours?
My reaction is like this right now. I did not even know how to put it to words. It's just like it's like it's so hard to explain because it's such a weird thing just seeing this person who you've seen as this big public figure your whole life all of a sudden post something that you created on their Instagram. It's just what? It's mind blowing. And my friends were all freaking out. They're like, "Hold on now, did Ellen just?" And I was like, "I don't even know how to process this."
Oh man, right. And does this make you feel at all nervous, kind of going forward that you hit this high so quickly? Frankly, like one song, million views, Ellen's posting it.
I mean, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself. I'm just trying to create art that I want to put out and that I want to create. And, people are either going to like it or they're not. And art is subjective. So, whatever happens, happens. And as long as I'm happy with what I put out, and as long as my dad's happy and my sisters are happy with it, then that's the best we can do. And if it has a positive reaction, then that's great and that's amazing. But Lonely Christmas blew up in a crazy way that we were not expecting. And I think it might be unrealistic to expect that will happen again in the future. But if it does, then that's amazing. But if it doesn't, then then it was amazing that it happened to Lonely Christmas.
It's like, yeah, that was fun, and now it's kind of back to like the more like a quiet life. But you never know. I mean, like the fact that you have done so well right off the bat, it'd be kind of cool if that like continued on. Do you think you'll be doing more music videos?
I think yes, because for Lonely Christmas, the music video was a crucial part, and I mean all of the majority of the views or the majority of the attention to the song was based in the video that we posted. And a lot of people were enjoying the visual aspects of it and getting to see my grandparents. And, my grandparents aren't singing in the song, so there wouldn't have been that element unless we created the video. And I liked that I could show my sisters singing with me, because I think sometimes people wouldn't realize since solo singers sing their own harmonies sometimes. But yeah, I think the visual content is also a very important aspect.
Mm-hmm. Now, did it take a while to kind of plan out what you were going to make the video show?
No, it was very incredibly promptu. Yeah, it started pouring rain outside when we drove up to our grandparents' house, and then we just were already soaking wet, so we decided to film in the rain. And really, we just recorded on the spot, and we were like, all right, this might look cool. This is going to get our point across. This is, this will highlight this thing that we want to show. And we just kind of rolled with it. And I ended up being completely drenched when I came back inside, but it was fun. I was dancing in the rain, and it was a little cold outside, but it was still fun. And then we also had this projector in our house that we just, threw up some projections and worked with what we got and tried to make the most of the resources that we had.
You certainly did. Now, I know that Philly has a great music scene, a great art scene. Did you get the chance to explore that at all before everything had to get shut down?
Oh, absolutely. I love Philly. My whole family, we really do love Philly. And there is so much incredible art and artists that live in Philly. And doing theater, I've gotten to meet a lot of different actors in Philly, and my sister has been in a lot of shows as well. And since both of my sisters sing with me, we're all in different things all the time. So we meet different people through that, and it introduces us to so many different artists. And it's really wonderful. It's a good community of artists is a really amazing thing. And there's so much to learn from being around other artists. So yeah.
I also want to ask about your acting background, because it sounds like that's as big a part of your life as your music. Have you been acting and singing for like the same amount of time?
I would say I focused a bit more on singing and music than I do on acting. However, and I've been singing longer than I've been acting. I started singing really when I was very young. I just always enjoyed singing, and since my dad was so musical and my mom always loved music very much. I mean, she doesn't sing and she's not as musical, but she always had music playing and she's always dancing around the house. So she provides just as much of that love of music. Yeah, so I've always been exposed to music, but then later on, I think when I was in 5th grade, I auditioned for my first community theater show, and then from that point on, I loved being in shows, and it made me so happy. So I did a bunch of community theater shows, and then we heard that they were doing Annie at the Walnut Street Theater, and I was like, why don't I audition? And let's just see if I can even get an audition. And so they accepted me into the audition, and then I got cast. I had a really small role. I was on stage for a very short amount of time, but it was so much fun being on, a big stage and getting to do so many shows and getting the different costumes. And, it was just a wonderful experience for me. And getting to work at a professional theater and getting to do 4 shows a week and the Thanksgiving Day parade, it was a great time. And then after I did that show, my younger sister, Marin, she got cast in Matilda, and she was cast as Matilda's understudy, and she was also in the ensemble. And then she was cast in Shrek a year later, and she was cast as young Fiona, and she got to have her own little solo, and she was incredible. And yeah, so anyway, but mainly I focus on music, but theater has been a massive part of my life, especially in the last 5 years. Yeah.
What would you say has been an important milestone for you in terms of your acting career?
I would say getting cast at the Walnut Street Theater was definitely a big part of my love of theater, because it was my first opportunity at a professional theater. So I could talk to a bunch of different professional actors and understand the lingo and get the feeling of being in an actual dressing room and not just in a crammed gym with a bunch of kids in smelly costumes. I mean, the costumes were probably still smelly anyway, but it was great to have that first professional experience. And then later me and my sisters were invited to do a trio song in their gala, and we'd done that for a few years in a row after that, which was really wonderful, especially because that was one of our big moments together to perform together. So I think that was definitely a important milestone. And also, all of the community theater shows I've done, I would say have just as much of an impact as the bigger shows, because you learn something different with each show you do. So, and same with school, I learned something different from each. So I would say they're all equal milestones.
I like your approach, saying that you learn something different from each show. Would you say you've gotten any really important lessons, or whether it's from acting or music?
Oh yeah, I think the biggest thing that I have learned doing shows and doing music is just the importance of listening and working together with other people. I mean, that's really the biggest part of any of the art that I do is it's a community activity. It's a community thing. It's about the people who support you and you supporting them and the people you're working with, because without that element of togetherness, nothing would even be there. There wouldn't be anything without working together with everyone. So I think the biggest thing that I is just, the importance of community and support and acceptance.
What would be the ultimate role for you?
Oh, I don't know how to answer that. Oh gosh, I do not know how to answer that. However, I would probably be happy with anything. Honestly, I would. I really would. I've been cast as such bizarre roles, and I love all of them. All of the weird ones too, that I'm like, why was I even cast as that? That makes no sense to me. And then I have so much fun playing that role. So I do not know what my dream role will be, but I'd be happy with most.
Okay, I have to ask, what was the weirdest?
I was in Three Musketeers in middle school, and I was cast as the main henchman, and it was a villain role. And typically, if the show was done in a professional theater, if it was done by adults, that would be played by an adult male villain, and that's not usually my typecast. So I had to learn a bunch of stage combat with swords, which was so fun. It was so much fun. I loved learning stage combat. There's so much adrenaline, though. You have to be so careful doing stage combat because their adrenaline is so high when we're doing shows. So yeah, but that one was definitely one of my stranger casting experiences, but it was so much fun because I got to learn stage combat, and it was just really fun. And I wore an eye patch the whole show, so I had to practice doing stage combat with one eye.
Oh, that must have been interesting for like your depth perception too.
Oh yeah, it was very strange. It definitely took some getting used to, but it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Any musicians or actors or actresses that you feel are a strong influence for you?
Oh yeah, I have so many influences. Right now, I love Lorde. I've been listening to Phoebe Bridgers more recently, and she's great. There's an artist who I believe she lives in the UK. Her name is Eloise. I love her music. I love AC/DC. I love Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald. I have so many, but yeah, those were some that stuck off the top of my head.
That is a wonderfully diverse and awesome music list right there.
Thank you.
On that topic, I do want to ask, are you always like looking for new kinds of music?
Oh, 100%. Anytime I see someone post an artist that they're listening to on social media, I always screenshot it and I always add something to my playlist. And I think sometimes people think that when they post things, some people say like, oh, I don't care about that song you're posting on your story. I always care and I always listen because I always want to be constantly expanding who I'm listening to. And I really love so many different genres and I love such a variety of music that I'm bound to like something that I see someone post or yeah. So I'm always open to hearing any suggestions or recommendations. And
what is next for you? What can people look forward to in the coming weeks and months?
Well, we're hoping to get a new single out in the next few weeks. And my dad and I are in the process of writing a song right now, as well as the one that we're going to be putting out very soon. And we also hope to work with my sisters more. And yeah, we're just working on getting some more songs to the finish line, but we will be putting out one very soon.
Excellent. Well, Wallis, thank you for talking to me. I really appreciate this. But where can folks go to learn more about you and to check out your music?
You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is just Wallis in all caps, WALLIS, and my Instagram at I_am_Wallis, and my Spotify is just Wallis in all caps, and I'm pretty sure any other social media platforms would just be either Wallis in all caps or I_am_Wallis.
This is Angelina Singer, author of the Upper World series, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout, the best podcast for independent artists.
Hey everyone, Max Bowen here. If you're a longtime listener of the show, you know how much I love Comixology. This is the best place to go for digital comics from every company out there, from the big two to independent creator-owned titles. Well, folks, the big news is that they are hitting the presses. In the spring of 2021, they'll be teaming up with Dark Horse Comics, publisher of titles such as Black Hammer, Hellboy, and Sin City, my personal favorite, to distribute print editions of Comixology originals, graphic novels, and collections. This is going to include the Eisner Award winner Afterlift, along with Breaklands, Youth, and The Black Ghost. I have read most of these titles. They are amazing. I cannot wait to add them to my bookshelf. Now, these will be available in comic shops, bookstores, and libraries, and more will be announced in the weeks and months to come. But if you want all the updates, go to ComixologyOriginals.com and follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, folks, that brings this episode to a close. You can follow the show on Facebook under Citywide Blackout and Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max. Listen to the show on Podbean, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Boston Free Radio. To close things out, I've got Wallace's debut single, Lonely Christmas. As always, keep those ears open.
Oh, this lonely, lonely Christmas, I can't help but feel that this must be goodbye to dreams of mine, a very plan that I made back in January. I stare at my phone alone at night. Am I doing this right? I feel like a reindeer in the headlights. Oh, this lonely, lonely Christmas, I know you know it's true. I think about the cozy Christmases when I was with you. Oh, this lonely, lonely Christmas, this year will be a litmus test of my connections' eyes, focused on my ride. Everybody's throwing stones, looking for fights, and hugs are not polite. It's alright, we're just stuck at a red light. Like a cage, can't wait to break the chains and sing and dance with you again. Oh, this lonely, lonely Christmas, I only wish you knew. I dream about the cozy Christmases when I will be with you. Oh, this lonely, lonely Christmas,